Go.
Welcome aboard, all you ground troops spinning around smartly on the planet. We've been doing this since, well, as long as we can remember because we're keepers of the flame. But Janet, Carol Lesson, and I are operating in two different locations. I'm in Buda, Texas, right outside of Austin off I 35. And Janet, Carol Lesson is on the big island of Maui, which is formerly,
The Big Island is a different island.
oh, excuse me. You
Yeah.
should know after living there on Oahu for like 8 years. She is
Yeah.
on the little island of Maui. Even though I have been there and been to her house, we had the Ascension Center together and we're still doing Ascension Centering. So, Hybrid Genie's Godspell in the Stars is something we're doing. And we're facing our own fears by showing up in these old lady bodies. So we are senders and receivers. And I guess if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have a reason to get up in the morning. So I'm a writer's right. But Janet Carol Lesson has been doing events for pretty much as long as she was right out of college due to Star Trek. But we're both sharing our story and want you to come and share yours as well. We're finding a lot of friends on Substack we didn't know we had. And on our social media, mine are scattered all over. So please like and subscribe if you're on TJ Mars or ET Talk TV and Aquarian Media. But Aquarian Media is part of the former Aquarian Radio, and TJ Mars Talk, ET Talk is part of the TJ Mars ET Radio. So we've got those shows over 1,000 each. So I'm going to let Janet take over. Sort of today is her day to lead. And we both market and distribute for you with our domains, websites, web presences, and our pipelines and LLMs. So go ahead, Janet, take it away.
Okay, well, this show is called Hybrid Genies, The Godspell in the Stars, How Inherited Fear Rewrites the Alien Encounter. And it was inspired by an article I wrote after I was watching all the trailers, excuse me, for the upcoming Disclosure Day movie, which is going to be in 6 days on June 12th, 2026. And I have my tickets. Get your tickets now because it's going to sell out. Hold on. All right, there we go. So basically, what we're dealing with is people who are encountering extraterrestrials often have a fear-based response. And we're exploring how the God spell has kind of indoctrinated us, and plus our media and all the science fiction, kind of polarized with Star Trek and then into all the horror movies and stuff. So that's why some people have a knee-jerk negative response to extraterrestrial encounters. But we're going to put a different theory out there, and I have some shows here. Now, wait, that's part 3. Where's part? I'm going to remove that. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm still learning how to do this. And I realized after I made this thing that, no, it was 11 a.m. and you guys are on summertime, daylight savings time. So
Central here in Texas. Austin's a big mecca for hybrid AI genie kind of work, especially with AI and AGI now, for all of those of you online. But there's starting to be a panic about that, where we're going to put all the powerhouse centers around the world. So we'll grow into it, but it's not going to go away, folks. So we might as well embrace it.
I think we're going to have to go to alternative energy sources if we're going to keep up with this new type of
reality.
This new reality, new type of information. We've outgrown our old fossil fuels, so we're going to have to really catch up with that, and we can't be, pooping in our own backyard. So we have to make it clean energy, so it's so sustainable. Otherwise, it's not sustainable, and we're all dead. So, okay, so let's see what this says. So,
well, the Godspell in the Stars, Janet, I just want to make it clear, folks, that AI has enhanced us. So we apologize, but we're much older elders in our spiritual community. But Janet, you want to explain that beautiful picture of us because
Well, this
it's
is
a God
what
spell.
we're going to look like, probably even younger. After the disclosure, part of the disclosure is going to reveal the technology. And basically, as we've been uncovering things like the Human Genome Project, we have it's polarized. There's part of our society, I call it the Enki part, the good God that wants us to have technology and advances and join the federation and have cures for all diseases and enough food and plenty for everybody. So there's that the good side of the force, right? Then you have the dark side of the force, and they're about capitalism and greed and being a first trillionaire on the planet and the billionaires, and it's a billionaire club, and all the rest of us are worker bees or enslaved people or however you want to symbolize it. And it's been going on for thousands of years, and it still continues to this day. And they profit from wars and chaos and drama and trauma, and even like controlling the medical uh, field. They really put the cures out, because if they put the cures out, then they wouldn't have this whole multi-level marketing medical field where you go to school, you pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to go get an education, and so it's all a monetary system, and the monetary system has gone out. It's out of control right now, and it doesn't respect every single soul. Every single soul is equal on the highest level of existence. Every one of us is equal. When we're dead, we're over on the other side. We're going, yeah, you're the same as me, and I'm the same as you. But down here, we're in the polarity game and divide and conquer and demonization, and it's just not working anymore. It's not working for most humanity, and so that's why we've got to figure out disclosure. But there's different layers to it. So inherited fear can rewrite the alien encounter before discernment has a chance to speak. So let's see where we go. So I'm focused on my story, and I apologize. My sinuses drip. I need to get polyps removed from my sinuses, so I'll be taking a break here someday soon and get surgery for a couple of days. Okay, so when I was a little girl, I had this big dragon Draco came out of a portal in my neighbor's backyard, and I definitely had a fear-based response to it. I went into shock, fight or flight for a while there. And I called him George. I named him George, and he would come through, and he would actually paralyze me. A lot of experiencers have this paralysis. Now, as a child raised in a human culture, I had all these perceptions, even at 4 years old. But I kept having this encounter with him. I'm not even sure the time span. It went from when I was 4 to I was 12 years old. But I played in the alley behind the house, and all the kids in the neighborhood. We were typical baby boomers. Uh, the streets were full of kids. We probably had 50 kids in our neighborhood. It was only a block and a half long, right? So we had all these children everywhere. I was always playing with my cousins that lived 4 houses down. And so when I would come home from playing, a childhood encounter begins in fear, then unfolds in recognition, trust, and lifelong guidance. So that was a process. So I'll continue. So over time, things got better, but the unknown does not always arrive as enemy. Sometimes it waits for the human heart to come catch up. But it took me a while to relax into this encounter. And so this is a dramatization, and we use AI to because I can't draw that fast or do graphics that fast. And so let me just see what the next one is. So, okay, so Teresa, read this one if you can.
I will try. I have to make it. Religion, family stories, films, trauma, and silence can shape what we think we are seeing. And I see these beautiful crystals and books and all these. Are these imagination hallucinations behind me? The
Well, it's
filters we inherit. This is framing of how. Now, I live on snapshots since I was born. I remember all the way back before I was two, I could barely walk. I remember my parents had a little potty. Do y'all remember potty chairs, Janet? Did you
Oh
have one?
yeah, yeah. People have potty
The
chairs.
little wooden one, but
Uh-huh.
mine at the time before I was 2, I was barely walking. Mama kept it under the bed for me, and I pulled it out. But she told me you were I did that when we were living next to your grandmother Thurmond. How can you remember that? So I'm just letting you know those snapshots. I don't know how it works exactly. I'm working on consciousness, memory, framing, inheriting filters. But Janet, the filters we inherit. Now you're going to talk about what makes the framing of the filters, or what are all these pictures for?
Well, this is showing that sometimes the filters we get. Okay, so say you're raised Christian. I don't know what you're raised. There's all kinds of religions, but I was raised Christian, and it was fear based. It was like if you don't behave, you're going to go to hell. It was always like
Oh
a
yeah, hell and damnation from the
hell and
pulpit, because I've been a minister, married to a minister, had grandpa's ministers, and believe me, the world of Christian religion. But I am very American, so yeah, I was Southern Baptist, born and bred. I was born into the church and sprinkled, Janet, at the great Baptist church in Monroe,
you did
Louisiana.
not.
But I changed religions throughout my life till now, universal life.
In my personal opinion, I, as a therapist that's been doing therapy, to me that was abusive. I would not do that to a child. If you were just a conscious, civilized species living in the universe, you don't make your child afraid of life by saying if you don't behave, you're going to go to hell.
I
So
heard that a lot.
that's like I think that's abusive. They're just trying to get the kid to behave, but there's kinder ways to get the kid to behave than some people really take it in deep. So that's
Oh,
how that's created by our programming. That's fear based. So we're conditioned to approach life from a fear base, right?
well, in the 50s, we still had spankings all the way up to the 60s.
Right. Uh,
And I guess we need to thank the lady for riding the bus. That seemed to be after the lady riding the bus, our
yeah,
world changed in the South, because all the Democrats were becoming Republican, or I don't know how all that, but politics, we'll stay off of that, like,
yeah. We won't go to
international, global.
but all politics is a programming too, right?
Ah,
So I was always I wasn't spanked, so I have a different doing therapy.
really?
People who were never spanked or punished have a different outlook in life than those that were punished.
Wow.
So I had one incident when I was probably um, 10 years old where I no I maybe 11 or 12. I didn't want to go to school because I was getting bullied, and that wasn't even a thing we talked about back in the 60s. I graduated in 72. So I was having a hard time in junior high school because I was getting bullied. And I think I got bullied because I was developing breasts and becoming attracted. Now in
Ah.
our school, since I didn't move around like you did, we started in kindergarten and most of us graduated together. We went through all 12 years or whatever together. So anyway, I think the boys were attracted to me, but they started to stick me with pins, and I did it to a couple of my girlfriends. They would have pins, straight pins, and we had our mini skirts. And as you were changing classes and walking through the hall, and sometimes you were kind of trying to get in and out of a room, they would come and stick me with pins.
Ow.
I was very painful, and I I started being like shell shocked, and I didn't want to go to school. And
I
then
don't
they were
blame you.
they were grabbing my books and stuff, and they were grabbing my papers, and if I had any like we passed notes, and if I had any notes, they would grab them and pass them around. It's like that's private. Anyway, I was getting bullied, and so my mother was saying you have to go to school because back then if you didn't show up for school, they called the moms and you had to have a reason why your kid wasn't there, right? So I started skipping school. I was being bad, but if I had therapy or counselor, I could have said, I'm getting bullied, and maybe they could have done something. But we didn't have that type of reality back then. So she smacked me, but instantly smacked her back because I had never been smacked. It was like, smack back. She smacked me, I smacked her. And I went, ah, it was outside of thought. It's like, what? It was very primal. Anyway, I digress. So, yeah, so we are imprinted with our drama and trauma, dark or light, and everything in between. And we act it out and live life through those mirrors, those sensors, those parameters. Okay, next slide. Let's see what we're doing. So for me, I encountered science fiction.
Ah, of
And
course. Even Elon Musk loved to read and did a lot of fiction, right? We've talked
right,
about his referral to, I guess, novels with by Haynes and Heinlein. We read Heinlein, right?
yeah, I read Heinlein Asimov, but one of my very earliest influences was The Day the Earth Stood Still, which
Yes.
showed a paradigm of a civilized being. I mean, they did threaten to just blow us up if we didn't behave. Same thing, but at least they had a, a creature that wasn't uh, like a blob or something, right? It was
The
humanoid.
Tin Man that came out of the ship.
Right, right. Michael Rennie came out of the ship, so I started imprinting that.
What was his name?
Huh?
What
The
was
day the
that?
earth, the day the
No,
earth
what
stood
was the name of the alien that walked like a robot? Glock
court,
2. What
and
was
he
it?
said, "Class two barada nikto," which means go get my body and revive me because I'm dead. They shot me. Anyway,
Really?
oh yeah, that's what happened in the movie. Yeah, he got shot, and
The
then
human or the robot? The
the
robot saved
human
him and brought him
Michael
back.
Rennie got shot. The robot, he told when he was dying, he told the woman that he was involved with to go tell Gort, Klaatu Barada Nikto, which is there. Klaatu Barada Nikto, which
Wow,
basically
look at you.
come
What a
into my
memory.
body and revive me. So they had the regen machine back then, which is what they're talking about in the secret space program, that our military and secret space forces, whatever you want to call them, the secret,
Ah,
the secret,
okay.
whatever. They're not known to us.
Okay.
They're not out in the press and the movies, but it's starting to be. People are coming out about it. But
I love you got the old TVs in here. There's the
well,
one
we
on
had
the floor that's like the one we watched when we were kids. I think they were
right
Motorola's. I don't even know anymore.
when I was 12. I was such a brat. I was the youngest, and I think my parents felt guilty, and they did everything they could to get me whatever I wanted. Plus, I was
Really?
very intelligent and highly manipulative. When I look back on it, it's like
Oh,
I could get
wow.
my parents in my
Well, how
enemy.
many children, how many siblings do you have?
I
You have
had
a
just
brother and
a
a
big
sister?
brother and an older sister, and my brother was 7 years older. My sister was five. So by the time I was 12, Louise was out the door married, right? So I'm there.
Oh,
I'm like the only child from 12 until I got married and
so you
left.
got a portable TV like on this
Well, mine
bed?
was actually bigger. I remember my mom was in the hospital when I talked my dad. I said, "Star Trek is coming. Please, Daddy, please get me a TV. I must see this show in color. I will die if I don't see this." I was very dramatic, right?
Ah,
And he went out with his credit card and he bought a 19 inches. It was actually bigger, and I had it on stand. And just in time, just in time. My mother came out of the hospital, and it was in my room. My poor parents had a black and white TV, but I had the color one. But I really thank both my parents for tolerating me because I don't know, I was on to something. I was just trying to figure out, mainly because I was a contacting experiencer since the crib, like you were, and we need to cover this in our series here.
yeah, but
Um,
mine were people. They weren't robots, but they weren't.
Well, it doesn't matter. You're encountering something that's
How you
outside
frame
your
it?
norm, huh?
You framed it as a dragon. I guess you like drag. How did you know
I
about
had
dragons?
one of my earliest contacts besides the Greys was the reptilians, and then I've had contact with the tall whites or the Anunnaki and the mantis.
Anunnaki.
I had four main beings that have been working with me all of my life, and plus, I've seen everything imaginable under the sun and then some, because we haven't labeled
Yeah, I don't
99.
know how to label orb people that can come in bubbles like Glinda, the Wizard of Oz.
Right, right. I've
But that's
seen
how I conceived mine.
right. So,
Meat raisins.
so the context stories can teach wonder, diplomacy, friendship, and curiosity instead of panic. So when I started to encounter extraterrestrials, I had a like you had. This is my family. This is my real family.
Yeah,
They're in
you have two
space.
families.
They love me. My extended family. I love them. I felt nothing but love. Even uh, the Draco, he was concerned about me. He was
Oh,
checking up on me. It was, but because I had the programming from my culture, I did have a fear-based reaction. So what I'm hoping is that we this will help people when they have their encounters, and I'm hoping that we have more encounters. And part of why you're not having encounters is that your fear is blocking them. It's like you'll believe it when you see it. You'll see it when you believe it. It's like you have to learn how to relax and not have that knee jerk. And so I've spent my whole life uh,
meditating.
reprogramming myself to not have that knee jerk reaction of fear, but to stick with it and move through it and pass through it. And I think Whitley Strieber talked about that process as well. So you can do it, and you set the intention first to I'm going to encounter these extraterrestrials, and I can see ghosts now without fear. I had a fear reaction to ghosts. I had my grandmother at the foot of my bed. So okay, so the
The
facility
filter. Oh,
built.
okay.
Okay, go ahead. You read
Now
that
that
one.
the facilitator becomes a filter, so a fearful witness can bend memory towards terror. Nicely said. A grounded witness can restore sovereignty. Interesting. Okay,
Right.
go with that.
So I think
Eating my
it's really
popcorn.
to have your regressions with a facilitator who isn't fear based. So in our UFO community, and I'll cover this later, we
Okay.
have a lot of facilitators that have started, taking people that had contact and doing hypnotherapy, regression therapy,
Yeah,
and
Dolores
basically,
Cannon was helping us in the
Cannon,
back in the
right?
day. I had to go meet her. Guess she was on my storyline. Somebody wrote for me or something.
Right.
Men in Black.
So, and Sasha and I have facilitated hundreds, if not thousands, of people in groups and in one-on-one sessions, and we cover all kinds of issues, not just that. And we don't use hypnosis all the time. Sometimes you just get somebody relaxed enough that they can. If you get people to focus on their own story
Uh
and you
huh.
witness them, they can get a lot of information without having to go into depression. But if they have a
Yeah.
block because of trauma or drama, you can say, okay, would you like to go deeper into that process? But we never lead the witness. We never direct people. We allow and get them into
Allow. That's
allow
a
them
good
to
word.
express themselves fully and in complete catharsis if they need to. If they need to scream or get angry, we have a bunch of pillows. We
Oh
had
my
some teddy
goodness.
bears in our therapy room. We had big teddy bears and
That's like
stuff that,
Werner Erhard did. Remember Werner Erhard? Were you
yeah,
after him, Est?
yeah. So
Were
we'd
you
say,
after Est?
talk to your dad. Well, that's a teddy bear. Well, pretend that's your dad. Well, that's your mother. Tell them what you wanted to really. What did you really want to say? You know.
Wow. Well, he has a master's in psychology and a PhD. He is a
Oh, he
doctor in
has
anthropology,
he
and he
has
up our
70 years of experience. He's been doing that his entire life.
yeah.
Since he was a grad student, and he studied psychology. He picked one to do his thesis on, which was anthropology. He loved anthropology, but he's been both all of his life, and he's turning 86 on July 9th. So
Wow.
happy birthday, Sasha.
Let me
Okay,
mention this book.
uh,
Let me do a infomercial real quick for
okay,
Sasha and Ken. Janet and I started a lot of things, including the Alien Contact Org, ACO Association. But the best thing we ever did, if you can see this,
it's weird. It gets all distorted. There we go. There we go. Right there. The
okay,
regression on a NASA whistleblower, Ken Johnson. And
yes,
Sasha did the regression, and they took the recording. I think was it Karen and
yeah, Karen Kilpatrick Um,
Co-
it says Karen Christine editing and layout by Karen Christine Patrick, and the transcript and cover by Brett Collins Shepard. And I remembered we had them on the radio, Janet, and
Oh,
we
anytime.
sort of discussed everything with Ken, and they went. Ken went and helped them, and it was all due to I think our relationships, unless they tell you otherwise.
Well, I don't remember the story,
Boy, I
but
do.
somehow they all found each other and they lived close to each other. Hold on.
Sure.
Boy, I'm having a lot of
Well, he
problems with
Ken
scientists.
Ken lived in Mexico, and he went and got them in. I think it was Texarkana, Texas. It's a long drive, 500 or so miles. But
Yeah, but
anyway, they should tell that story.
they were hanging out together because they were helping Ken archive his
Story.
photos that he had from the NASA, from
Yeah, the
NASA
NASA. I
photos.
guess you'd say he was there when the first mission to the moon returned with film, photos, and moon rocks. So Ken collected an archive of early photos, which is now part of Disclosure. And I think he gave a set or the of original because he made a few sets. And one person that helped him was at the Roswell UFO Museum. Now Sally Hester was there with Glenn Dennis
Right,
when I
Glenn.
yeah back in the day, but they used to help us with all trying to make the library better. But yeah, I went through there a few times. So he worked is with Vanden Air Force Base before or after
So
NASA.
we'll do a show on Ken in the future.
Or your
Um,
husband and his regressions and
right.
how we do books or help people
But
do books.
because it was Ken's information, so it was up to Ken to release it. So he did, and I have that book somewhere. I'm going to have to read it. But let's continue on this thing.
Okay, flip. Oh, the night
26
experience. Okay,
minutes in, so let's continue.
go
So
ahead.
I had this experience. So this is part of my awakening. I'm just sharing my experience, my lived experience. I got Communion, the book by Whitley Strieber, when it came out. I believe it was 1987, and I always like to read before I go to sleep. And I got to the point where it said where the ETs will interfere with technology
Hmm.
sometimes. And then I put my bookmark in and I put the book down by my bed table and I fell asleep. And about 3 a.m., and we had a family room downstairs. This is my family room's downstairs, but the TV came on full blast. Never came on before. Never came on after. And it was on full blast. I would never have it that loud. It was so loud. I just bolted out of bed. My husband was not this husband. It was my second husband. And I said, "Do you hear that? Yeah. Will you get down and shut it off?" He said, "No, you do it." I said, "No, you do it." I wasn't going to go down because I knew what it was.
Oh,
I knew it was the ETs. And I didn't want to counter anything. So I just let him be the big man and go down and shut off the TV. So that was really, it was very strange. But it was like the ETs were saying, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to show you. I'm going to give you some proof right now." So it was beyond coincidence. So that was part of my awakening. But the Whitney Strieber book was very important because it was like, oh, I've been having these experiences with these types of aliens, the gray aliens with the big eyes, since I was born, since 1954. And here it is, 1987, what, 64, 77, 87, over 30 years later. It's like, and now we're coming out with it. Yay. And that's how I feel now. I'm 72. It's like, yeah, we're going to have disclosure day. I can't wait 6 days. I'm really,
well, at
because,
least in a movie form.
and I need to get there. I need to get surgery. And it's like, when you're older, it's like, you mean you're going to put me under anesthesia? I may not
I
come back. So
know.
there's always that concern. It's like, I don't want to do that. So I am rooting for the tech that really existed is not dangerous. So I can live to be. God gave us 120 years. I'm claiming my 120 years, but I think that if we live to be 120, so if I want, it'd be 2074, right? Then we might reach higher technology and escape velocity. I talked to
2056,
great
30 years.
Well,
Let's see.
yeah.
How old will you be? Well, I'm 74, so add.
Well, I'd be
I'll have. Well, let's say 50
124.
years.
If I lived to be 120, it would be 2074, 2074. Yeah, I want to reach this Star Trek reality. So here's the two of
So
us.
I'll meet you in 2074. We'll probably still be doing something like this, helping each other show up as humans.
Right.
And we're still writing books and doing videos.
So read this one. Let's talk about
Sure,
this one.
healing the fear that distorts contact. Well, that's a beautiful picture. Disclosure asks humanity to heal the lens through which the unknown is received, because we are all oversoul senders and receivers, and we do both. They're just like one big local part of the oversoul source of all things we call God or the monad in most religions. But go ahead. What do you want to talk about? Do we have how
Well,
many of these do we have? We're 30 minutes into the show, so
I can
we got
go.
a bunch of them.
I have 60 slides, but I know we're not going to get through them all. And
Oh
we never.
Lord!
But I'm making. I've learned how to make some videos from all this. So, but what I'm doing, because I feel an urgency, is get this information. I don't want to take it with me, right? I want to get this out, and I'm encouraging Teresa to do that, and other experiencers out there. Let's get this out there. And if we have a team of people working, I was up to 1 a.m. last night trying to get this stuff together. If we have a team of us working, we're all getting this out there, I think we can shift into a new paradigm. One of like this here. I like the positive images. Now, Teresa and I have never really had the time in life to actually sit down together.
Yeah, we have once.
Well, a little bit.
2017 at the kitchen table or in the
Right.
office
We
or
have,
in the.
but like to be where like that to me is like time is
Oh,
endless. Like to totally
okay.
relaxed, right? Like, oh, we're
Sit in a
just
circle with other people that used to
right.
do. We used to do that in Hawaii, but not together that we can recall. We can recall her getting in a car, and I remember her showing up one day and coming in the door, and they separated her from me, whoever they were.
I
Right?
don't know what that woman was doing. Anyway, that's another story.
Stargate.
I think yeah. So we're going to go through all this, but Teresa and I were in different programs. Sometimes you're in a program, one of these secret programs, and you don't know you're in it until later. It's like, now that makes sense. Because
A special access program before in the eight. What? No, this was the 97. Wait, no,
okay,
93.
part one.
89 to 93. You showed up after Pittsburgh. You were working in a film department, weren't you, in Pittsburgh?
I've been working in films since I was probably 17 or 18.
You loved TV, didn't you?
I loved film. I went to Star Trek in New York in 74, 75, and I got really involved with that community. We were putting on events. I was working, and these events had like 10,000 people, so I got really involved with I forget the woman's name. She was the one in New York. She actually lived, it was really ironic, right? We met in New York. I come back home to Avalon, and she lives within walking distance of my house.
Wow. Did she work with John Mack?
No, she was with the Star Trek community, and she was real big. She was a giant woman like you.
Thank you.
6 feet tall.
I prefer Amazon.
She looked magnificent. She had a very commanding presence, and she just took over that whole conference, ran it, and then she came back to Pittsburgh, and she put on one in Pittsburgh, the Hilton, with like 10,000 people. And so we were working on the next one, which was going to be a smaller event.
So we're no longer event planners, or we still are on the
I think I'm too old unless I have the regen, because
well, I'm tired of flying into Las Vegas, and they don't know where to put me on the bus or on the plane or over to the jockey club for the, because we got off this last time, and I expected a whole bunch of people, but I think I've changed names so many times, nobody knows who I am anymore.
Right. So part 2, the experience carried the human record of contact, and we'll cover this a little bit.
Okay.
So contact lives in memory, body, dreams, and family lines. If
Okay.
you have a suspicion that you've had alien contact, or if you want to prepare yourself for alien contact and invite them to contact you, there are things you can do. You can do meditation. And a lot of it is intention set and setting. So there's people that go out in CE5s and they call it in, they do group meditation. I used to call in ETs and ships when I was a little girl. I
Support
didn't know
groups.
anything. Yeah.
They're
Support
basically support
groups.
groups.
If one doesn't exist in your area, maybe you can start one. I started support groups for tantra people and polyamorous people, people in alternative relationship. Did that about 10, 20 years. And we've done the ET contactee experiencer groups at a lot of these conferences. We ran them. We worked with other people who ran them. So a lot of the conferences have a section for experiencers, and you go in there, and you don't have to talk if you don't want to, but if you want to, you can get up and share even a snippet of your story, because I think there are literally millions of people that have contact. Some remember one episode, A Light in the Sky. They have uh, missing time. Some remember whole things. Some write books. We all need to show up and tell our story. If you're brave enough to be recorded, that's great, because then we have a record. You can use your real name. You can don't use your real name.
Yeah, we had Kathleen Martin and Denise Stone. They used their real names.
Right.
And,
A lot
and
of
you,
people use names.
Kathleen Martin was the niece of Barney and Betty Hill, which is
Right.
always well known for movie, television, scripts, books, I guess. So I think she's written quite a few of her own. I don't know if they're doing it, Denise Stone and I haven't talked
I
to
don't
Kathy
know.
for years. Have you?
I haven't. I kind of fell off the end of the world for a while there, but I'm climbing back.
COVID.
COVID, but I don't know. I just got really involved with my own thing for a while. I think
Your
it's
own drama?
I, whatever
Your own
that
life story?
that. But you know we've had a drama. You lost
I
a
got drama.
daughter and a husband. I mean that is huge. And
Yes.
even though it was happening to you, it
And
was
my
happening
dog.
to me.
My
And
dog,
then you lost
Coco.
your dog. I mean, it's just huge. And then my sister caught dementia. Um, you
I don't
know,
know if you catch dementia or not, but
whatever.
we won't go into the
We
medical
put it enough. She
terminologies
got
of
it. She got it. I meant to say
she's
got it.
diagnosed though. You're not
Um,
misquoting, right?
but I think part of that was because of the stress she was in at the time. A lot of these
Ah,
stressors might kill you, like COVID, but then you have the side effects from it. So she had some side effects from extreme stress. She lived in poverty. That's stressful. She was always struggling to keep a roof over her head. It would be great to be in a conscious, civilized civilization where you don't have to struggle to keep a roof over your head, to stay out of the
that was
elements.
really hard after COVID. It reset the whole world in 2020. We call it the reset on this planet of
So it's in you, it's in your
archives.
memory, it's in your body, it's in your dream. And a lot of families have had ongoing contact for generations. So if you pay attention to these signs, you might be able to recover your own story. Okay, so then there's the official files. Now, you worked in a lot of the official capacity.
Right.
I worked in on a military base, and I was dealing with things. I
You were
had
dealing with the library like historians do.
right.
You were
That
keeping
was
the
that was
records.
like a library that you get in a school, right? No, there was this. I was working on the underground installation, and I was getting mind wiped, and
Wow.
and went back up. Yeah, because I was there 10 hours a day.
Ooh.
And I've done a lot of work on that, and it's like, what was going on? So I've recovered a lot of the memories of what was happening when I
That
was.
poor girl died next to you in a room, if I recall
Yeah, she
correctly.
she went. She was working on the boats because a lot of the people would go diving, but they had to be back before sundown. So she
Oh,
had a boat that was not responding. They had radio, two-way radios. So she got panicked and she went in her speedboat and she went to their last known coordinates to see if they were in trouble. But she went too fast. She hit coral. She was catapulted out of her boat. Now, Johnson Atoll, they are known for sharks. They just had
Ouch. Yeah.
hundreds and
The
thousands.
shark shoot. I remember feeding sharks. They
Yeah,
actually feed them some, would they,
they
for
well, they
some
would
reason?
take the leftover food
Bodies.
because there was nowhere to store that or dispose of it. So they literally load up the truck with the leftover food, and they
Uh,
would put it down what they called the shark chute, which is on the
yeah.
far
And
end.
this isn't classified, is it? Now, this is like
I
30,
don't
40
think
years
anything's
ago.
classified that I said. I
Yeah.
mean, they had 20. I don't know.
This was just our experience, what we know.
This is just what I know. This
Yeah.
is what I observed. I never cited anything that said it was classified. I, I'm just recovering my memories as a experiencer,
Right.
and
And they don't
because
have a cover on them.
genetically they liked me, and they like psychics. They like Teresa,
They
and they recruited
do.
her, and they like
Yeah.
Janet. So
They
they
like
did
it if you identify in psychic, especially SRI, but back in the day with, Ingo Swan and Hal Puthoff
right.
and all of those guys. Paul H. Smith was somehow remote viewer, but was able to teach remote viewing separate from what I did as a psychic or you did. So you and I had psychic
Sites
network,
at Sci seminars, the no, your
nice
spirit.
seminars, and your
They
spiritual
did
center.
some remote viewing in their private training. There was about 30 of us, and we did remote viewing. Although I didn't know it was called that, and they also happened in the Sci World seminars, and I didn't know it was called that back then.
I
I
don't
just
think
thought
it was called that back then. I
it
don't know
was.
when remote viewing
All
was
those,
it.
all those
In the
people were doing
90s?
the secret projects, like the men who stare at goats, but it hadn't filtered down into my population. But there I was, and they were testing me to see what I could see. And I suspect because of the responses that I scored rather high. And I know if you did it, somebody was, well, I think you've been monitored, and you always scored very high, and that was behind some of the reasons why the Men in Black came and got you, like we covered
Yeah.
in the episode, where they got you in the van, they took you to Jesse Marcel, and I think they were really paying attention to what you
They
were
did. They
getting.
liked to watch me. I had watchers, or
Well,
Men in Black people.
because they can tell by your body language if you're getting something. Most people can't cover what's happening, and they're highly trained in all that. And
Nervous system.
he said something, and it's called a tell, right? They go, "What's your tell?" So you may have understood he was lying or telling the truth, and maybe since they knew you, you had what's called a tell. When somebody's lying, your body probably responds on some level, and you can roll your eyes or shake your head or tap your foot. We don't know what it is. There's usually a
Like a
tell.
machine, but I guess I was a walking, talking ET hybrid machine.
You were a lie detector. You were a walking, talking human lie
Lie
detector,
detector. You're
and you
so
didn't even know
funny.
you were.
Yeah.
So
Well,
this
go
one's
to the next one. Go to the next picture. I
right,
like your
official.
pictures.
So there's the official story on the
This is
left.
a pretty one. I want a
And
copy of
this
this
is
one.
experiencers that have been having all these experiences, and I
Look at all the
suspect
pictures. Yeah.
millions of us. Okay, so the next picture is
Ah,
we're asking
discernment.
you to have discernment and not automatically go into a fear reaction. And if you go into a fear reaction, notice yourself. Wow, I'm freaking out.
I'm
Look
on an
at me.
LSD trip, but I didn't take any.
My body wants to run out this door, but I can't because they've frozen me. Isn't that
Oh, that
interesting?
sucks, man. When you're in your body and you're conscious, but you can't tell anybody. I wrote a story about that today, but I
Oh, I'd
hadn't
love
got it
to see it.
released yet.
Cover that.
Yeah, being stuck in your body. And well, think about it. How many times like you're frozen in bed? That's a lot of times when people are taken between
Right.
at the hypnagogic state
The hip.
early in the morning when you're half conscious and half not conscious, or you've just been in a lucid dream and walked out the other side, sort of like this guy sitting here. This could be considered walking
Uh-huh.
through your own dream. There's a portal like a heart around him, and all these little he's like looking at these different realities, right? Like,
Right.
wow. So that's the way it can be in the morning, especially, and I think a lot of these people get taken because the men in black used to. We met Jesse Marcel at midnight. We had to wait till midnight, and then the doors opened, and we went in. White band, the black bands, and then they would come to visit me at midnight. And then are the handlers would say, "Don't look outside, no matter what you do." And I'm like, "Well, that's a tell, or that's a
Yeah.
what do you mean don't look out?" But I didn't. I didn't look outside or anything.
Look
But then
outside.
a
You
weird, strange being would come in, but I had to stay where I was. Go to the next room. Be still. Don't talk. And just why was that? Why was I always in
I
these
think you're
places
a human
to
lie
watch what
detector.
was happening?
I think you're a human lie detector. That's why
These were like
theories
those Navy
disappear.
guys,
Huh?
these tall whites. I think they're like Hall, what, Charles Hall? Where am I
Charles
getting that
Hall.
from?
So there is a
They're
I think
similar to that, but mine were
they're like a
coming
hybrid.
in
Uh,
black suits or
I'm
with
talking
glasses.
hybrid with somebody else, or there are species that I think they still are in Nevada somewhere, or somewhere where Charles Hall was, but
Oh yeah, well that's restricted air. That's the west side of the. Is it Cairn, Las Vegas? They named it. They changed the name of it or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, they're not. Charles Hall can talk about that because that's his life story, right?
right,
Is
right.
that
Well,
the right name? The tall whites.
Hall, I went and saw
But I
his
had
recent
tall whites and I had little grays too.
great. I just
I don't
loved it.
necessarily agree that all grays are demon or
Oh
angels
no,
or
there are so many varieties of gray aliens. When you say the
right.
grays,
They're a
it's like
species.
imagine if you're encountering human beings for the first time, and you find a little uh
First, you got to get over
that's
deciding what
4
kind of
foot
being.
tall, right? So
Yeah,
say
what
say
kind?
you encounter human beings, and you find them in different colors, shapes, sizes, you know, thin, fat, in between, white, black, all the different shades of colors and different features. And someone takes a 3 foot tall human being and said, "This is a human being," and then you think that all human beings look like a 3 foot tall human being.
Well,
But
see these taller ones over to the right in this
yeah,
picture? How many people have a visual? I saw these tall people like this when I came to a world similar to this one.
uh
And
huh.
and then I told you again when I went up, I guess you'd say after dreaming, but I was lucid and I was awake when I went to the ship and I saw a big one of those tall creatures, a being. I mean, you can't say anything, sitting in on the spacecraft that was traveling. I don't know, between realities, dimensions, realms, or if it was, I was still here in this human form. But, and then I told you about the dreams I had, dear. You may or may not remember. So to me, those tall whites, not just the ones our size that visit Earth, the giants. Occasionally, a giant can get on
Giants,
one of the
really,
ships,
30 foot tall giants. Yeah,
twice our size
apparently
anyway.
the size of beings based upon their planet and their
Yeah.
gravity or lack of gravity thereof. So, but if we can move past the sphere base and we start
I don't know.
embracing,
I still didn't feel comfortable around looking at this woman that next to all us humans, man, it was like so she lived
I've
before
seen it.
us. Like she
I
was
go to
like
worlds
12
where
to
I'm walking
16
through
feet
their
tall.
right. I go to worlds where I'm walking through their streets, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my god, how tall are these beings?
Yeah.
Because the scale, I am like I don't know, like your little dog, right?
Yeah. And you have to get over your fear base.
Dog,
Just yeah.
and I'm a full human, and it's
Right.
like, whoa, and I have walked among them, and it's like, don't step on me, don't step on me,
Well, you
right?
say that to me.
Yeah, don't step
In
on me, Teresa.
2016, you kept saying, "Oh, be careful, don't step on me. I'm down here." And you'd
I'm
look
down
up
here,
and I
step on
was
me.
10
And
inches taller than you. Well, yeah, but
okay,
this is
so
beautiful. Some
this
people say,
awaits
well,
us. If we can get past our fear, we will be
okay,
invited to the Federation.
good
Um,
idea.
I can almost guarantee that based on whatever. Okay, so let's see what else we're going to go
Ooh,
through this. So one of the things is they're not really talking about, even with Disclosure Day, is the Anunnaki influence, and
Ancient wisdom. That's why.
and we are here because of the Anunnaki. That's
Ah,
a lot of species have come in and played with us and hybridized with us, but the original interference, which took us from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens, was the hybridization where the Anunnaki hybridized their DNA with the Homo erectus and created Homo sapiens. So
was
we are,
that
and then they
splicing?
further mated with us. They like to mate with humans because once they
We were
got
beautiful.
their DNA, they were able to copulate and breed. So that means we're the same species. So you might be afraid of them, but we are the same species as these Anunnaki, which are usually uh, really tall. But I think what they've created are avatars so they can walk among us and not scare us. Because if they
Yeah,
really appeared in their
I,
pure tall height, you would
AI
have,
can be
I
any
think it's
size you want.
natural to have a fear reaction. Yeah, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Well, I was saying the kids growing up these days are playing. You said Avatar. Well, my mind didn't go to the movie. My mind went to gaming because there's so many billions of dollars made in the gaming. Oh, that's a good looking picture of you and Sasha. I know who
Yeah,
that is. I remember you guys looking like that. I've had pictures back in Hawaii. That's yeah, that's more like what Janet looked like in Sasha. Ancient origin memory meets modern disclosure.
before we got
And
old.
Sasha was so smart and so
Oh, he
intelligent.
is. He's still brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. And
And
so,
he helped me with Dr. Laura Sturgis, and he
yeah,
taught at University of Hawaii. I actually taught classes there, and then I went to classes there with Dr. Laura Sturgis. And that's during after the Psi seminars. I'd already gone through Life Spring with Tony Robbins and went through Psi seminars all the way over to the ranch in California, and then to Eco Expo during that time. But this is beautiful, Janet. You don't really sit down and look at the cosmos, do you? I like
no,
that map if you do. I do. I'm like, wait a minute. I wrote knowing cosmology.
I like the outfits. Some of the times these outfits, I go to my chat. Where can I buy that?
Yeah.
Have it.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
so for some
oh,
people,
okay.
because they've been mind wiped or they suppress their memories, when you have contact, you might say, well, this is familiar, right? So you might awaken and have recognition of the whole story. It might just fall into
Okay.
place. Let me
Depends
give.
on what epoch or what generation in your genealogy. You know, if you take your male and female who made you, even if you're in a test tube, and go back to their parents and their parents, they're always in a set of twos. We haven't really completed a woman with a woman and a man with man yet. So that's part of the controversy, I think, in politics right now. So don't shoot the messenger, right? We're just the old Akashic field readers, flame keepers.
Apparently, the extraterrestrials can have more than one parent, more than two parents, so they can do all the gene manipulation, splicing and dicing, and but currently human beings, as far as we know, in the straight world paradigm that we have, the
the,
regular world,
the one on the
and
planet, not necessarily
male
under or
and a
above.
female. But it was interesting you talked about studying at in Hawaii at the
Yeah.
university. I studied with Dr. Mickey Diamond, and I was interested in human sexuality, and he was talking about intersex. Back
Ooh.
in 1993, these people that are born and they're both, they are
Yeah. We used to call them, I don't know if it's right, morphodites. Was that right?
hermaphrodites. They originally were called hermaphrodites. But he was
Hermaphrodites.
proposing that we don't do the genital
Oh,
manipulation
let
on.
them stay the same.
Yeah, and then they choose like a rite of passage when they're 12 or something. When they just like
Yeah.
you go dunked it, when you go
How
get.
does that happen in your I guess we could go a whole nother
Oh
reality
yeah,
on
let's not
we
go
don't
there.
handle medical, but I do handle curiosity
Right.
and ontology and epistemology. Go ahead, Janet.
Okay. So this the star lineage. Anyway, these are just wonderful pictures that you can wrap around. This one's very. I saw this big. Let me show big real quick here.
Genie?
Yeah,
A
layered of fear,
hybrid genie.
feeling. There's a hybrid genie. So, so your memories are all around you, right? Which do you pick? You are the chooser. Which memories will I access? Which will
And I
I choose?
like that. That's a universal access because I stack mine 12 universes. And then I use the 13th, like in Ace Metaphysical Institute, and we do the flower of life down through the stacks and get off of the petals of the flower of life. Sort of
Now
like
this
the CERN.
right. So this is very complex. It shows civilization. It shows us progressing through time, and I mean, you could just look at unpack this. There are the talk in circles. I've sat in thousands of these circles with people in groups. It's
Yeah.
interesting if you could get into a circle with each other and just
And then
pass
they start telling you their truth.
and you toss that talking stick, right? And you'll start
Pass
getting
that talking stick.
pass that talking stick. Anyway, I this is kind of just a representation. We're almost through this slideshow. Let's see what's that. And
Whoa.
so there's the lessons.
Yeah, that's beautiful, the lessons. I love that picture. I wish people could have known you. Well, they did know you back then. You were with Tony Robbins and Deepak Chopra era a long, long time ago when they were young, good looking too. I met Deepak when he was still young
I'm blessed to have been
and
involved
Tony.
with all these people. And when I hugged Tony Robbins, he's so tall. He's like another whole
You,
person,
I bet
taller.
you were at his waist.
I was like at his waist. Yeah, it was just funny. It was like, oh my god, I felt like a little kid, and he's just so
You
like.
should show Sasha this or frame
I
this.
will. I will show him
Do you know
later.
how to frame? Do you know how to take it off of here
Of
and
course, yeah, I know
make
how
it
to
a
do.
canvas?
Of course, yeah. So
Okay.
that so who are we in relation to these? So the one of the things that Star Trek always they would say, why is everybody humanoid? You
Yeah,
know, they've got little wrinkles on their head or their nose, or slightly different, but they're all humanoid
they're
because
humanoid biologicals.
we're one big human family, right? We seeded the stars billions of years ago when we came out from source and we took human form and we donned our meat skins and some of us were Dracos, some of us were Lyrans, and some of us or we started to diversify
Or
out.
Orion's, a lot of people say Orion was the bus stop in a lot of the history
Yeah.
or the metaphysical history, I guess one might say. Anyway, we're doing mythos and science separate in AI now. So Janet and I are learning to tell these stories, but you've got the deeper question: who are we in relation to them? Okay, there has to be a they and them, but that's all an identity crisis as well. We're going through.
So
I, you, he,
greet
she,
them.
it.
Who will you? What will you do when you meet them? Will you greet them or turn them away? Will you show them how to uh, start a war? Or will you teach them love, or will you teach them hate? That was a song that Leonard Nimoy sang. I
Well,
memorized when I was 12.
in
Okay,
communication, right? You don't want to. Like right now, I think we've got so many ways to offend another human being individually. We might as well keep our mouths shut because our filters and, like you said, our framing and patterns, they all don't match as a soul or even your oversoul. I
well,
like
it's
this
law of
place.
attraction and action. What will you pull into your world? What will you create? I think we're all co-creators with Source, right? We're all at the highest level. We're connected. We're one with Source, and we are down here co-creating with Source. So when we realize that we truly are not just a hippie thing, but we are really connected at the highest level. We were originally these tall white, but we also have
They're all blended.
the Draco reptilian brainstem, right? So at one point, the
Reptilian.
Dracos and
Yeah.
Lyrans settle one in their wars. The story is they hybridized themselves, and that was long before the Earth was settled. So and then all these plants were seeded with life, and some of the seeding is sent out in meteors and things that crash into the planets, and when they
Say
crash,
that Klaatu thing again from the old movie. I don't know how we're going to get everything on Netflix these days, but Jan and I do our best
oh,
because we're writers, but we're not in the writers union, so we don't get picked for our stories except on YouTube.
so part
Experiencers.
part of what we do therapy is we release this shame lock from memory, and we
Wow.
stop acting out and projecting on other people. So if you're like an argumentative type person and you're always having drama and trauma, well, the thing in common in life
That's a
when you
reptilian brain. That
get
goes back
yourself,
to anger.
you're the common factor. So you can always work on yourself. And I highly believe in therapy and counseling and sharing in groups and meditation and joining support groups. And, it's like Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's for everybody. It's
12
for
step
whatever
programs.
you're in. If you're an experiencer, contactee, if you see ghosts, if you, whatever, um, seek out support groups and create them. If one doesn't exist there where you are, put an ad on the social network. Say, I'm creating a experiencer group in Buda, Texas.
Oh, not me. I don't have
I'm
time.
saying
I'm too
we're going to
busy
be
too
every
busy doing Janet Airlines with Janet and Chat GPT and AI and helping organize and
every Thursday.
glossary, doing
I have started
databases.
so many groups, or I have joined groups. I'm a joiner, right? I love it. I just love community.
I like being around people.
I love
I
talking
haven't
face
done
to
circles since
face.
Pensacola, and I did those
Right,
at bookstore, metaphysical bookstores.
right. We're on the next to last slide. What is this? The Anunnaki store may be the missing route. I think it's the missing link. It's going to tie us back to who we really are at the highest level of existence and who we've been in between. Every time we incarnated to form and we have an experience, we have been extraterrestrials. We are extraterrestrials. We are hybrid species. Anyway, that's my perspective. Anything you want to say about that? So next to the last slide.
Well, yeah, because there's so many Anunnaki stories, and I see a lot of them beautifully displayed, like yours on YouTube. But we've joined that family of YouTube Anunnaki stories. But Janet's husband has really, well, Janet was there too when Zachariah Sitchin was alive, and they went to New
I
York.
got certified too.
But
Everybody
that,
gets
yeah,
on top of it, but I was there too. But I've always I support Sasha in really
okay.
getting out there because I don't know, he's just such a wonderful soul.
Yikes.
I'm
This looks
amazed.
sort of like the water group under the water. You know what I mean? Like Aquaman. Is that an aqua human or your one of your
I don't know
cells?
what all this is. It's just, yeah, you're underwater when you're not clear, when you're not
Aqua.
conscious, you're underwater. So contact. See, in amongst all this stuff going on around, there's a dark side, a light side, and everything in between. The woman is reaching out and
I
touching
like this picture. You got a dog or wolf up there in the right hand corner.
there's a wolf, and
I
there's
like the Indian, American Indian, native tribes.
yeah.
This is beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
All
So
the
that's
things we've gone through.
go today. What would you like to
Okay.
say? Just free flow.
That's a subscribe to Aquarian Media and my ET Talk TV. I'm just starting to promote that, even though it's
Is
2
that your
years old.
YouTube, ET Talk TV, your YouTube?
My YouTube is ET Talk TV. Yeah.
Send me that link and I'll put that in the
It's
show
got a
notes.
link over the. Let me see if I can do it. It's at Janet. It's at sign
Type it into
ET Talk TV. Oh, put it down here.
yeah, put it
Okay.
in the
Well,
comments.
it says ET large T for ALK and then TV. Now I've got hundreds of these
We'll
YouTubes for
type that, then I'll show that. I'll display that. You got it?
ET Talk TV. Yeah, I think it's ET Talk TV. Now
Put
that
it in
is
the
just one
comments.
channel on
It's not
YouTube.
showing up in the comments. Where is it?
I put it in the comments.
Why is it not showing?
You want me to put it in private chat? Here, I'll
No,
put it.
no.
I'll
All
put it in
right, try that.
comments on mine.
I
Can you
don't know
see
what.
it now?
Nope.
It's the at sign ET Talk TV, or you can just say it. I do. I'm
Okay,
lazy.
just say it. Just say it.
I use one of these things. I don't know
Okay.
if you to. Can you see it?
So it's ET.
It's right there on the screen.
I
Look
can't
at my
see.
name, TJ
Oh,
Morris.
ET Talk at
Make me
ET
bigger.
Talk TV. So that's YouTube at ET Talk. All right, there we go.
Yeah.
There.
Ta-da! How'd you do that? Cool.
It says show. If you hover over it, it says show. Call.
Nice. I'm sorry,
Right.
folks. I didn't know how to do that. I'm learning.
You're
I'm still
learning.
here showing up, trying to learn all this stuff you can do with all the late and great AI, AGI. Use
All right.
AI is what I say.
So we're gonna end the stream, but I want to thank everybody for joining us for this show. We're gonna do another one again on Saturday at 11 a.m. Hawaii time. What time is it? Central time.
It's you put on there 3. Now we can show up an hour earlier. I don't care,
No,
but
that's fine. We
you
can do it.
originally started 4, so it would be 10, I think, for our friends in the UK, because we have a lot of distribution bonding on ET
What
Talk
time is it?
TV.
Central time for us.
Right now it's 5:07,
So we started
1700, 1707.
4 o'clock Central time, 5 o'clock Eastern time. Is that correct? 12, 1, 2, 3.
Well, Central Time is summertime right now, is daylight savings for me in Austin, Texas, Buda, Texas. Not Buddha, although it was shockingly when I was looking at a place to live, and my sister and brother, we'd moved from Houston throughout our grown life for 50 years, and we came back together in my 70s and her 69 2 years ago. But now I live with Brenda and Jim Thomas. Jim was with the forensics 40 years with the state of Texas, very well known and made a lot of TV parts. But Brenda owned her own company and was a nurse and ran a lot of medical stuff. So now she and I both have to have a operation, and now Janet does on her polyps again. So we're all
Well,
getting older, and we're doing what we can to get more titanium in our
well,
bodies.
we want to get this out. So we're doing it. That's what
Okay,
we're
we're
doing.
showing up, and Janet and I tell our stories to each other, and the third party, that's you, can listen in, and we'll actually put them on YouTube. As embarrassingly as it is that we're older ladies, it's okay. Oh,
There we
there
go.
I am. Oh,
Like, we're talking and we're not there.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to call it a day here. I had a great time. Thanks for showing up and your lovely living room there.
Yes, it's actually my bedroom with a visual behind it with no green screen. But thanks for promoting TJ Marcy Talk TV YouTube channel. Hopefully, we'll grow it together. I guess Hybrid Genies will be one of our. Oh, we didn't mention hybridgenies.com. Janet liked that name with AI. Helped me pick it. What?
So I will put all the shows up on hybridgenies.com.
Good.
And we're both on Substack as well. So look for us.
As separate beings and different names. Janet?
Yeah, we're separate people right now.
Yeah, we're right now. Yeah, we may have been together before.
We're all together at the highest level.
Yeah.
All right. Well, love and blessings, everybody. I don't have a sign off yet. I'm gonna make an intro and an outro. So I'm
Okay.
Okay. Love and blessings. Aloha, everybody. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.
All right. See you on Substack and on YouTube.